And we're live. Welcome to the Business Law Podcast, a Warcraft podcast by the community for the community. I'm your main host, Sparty. I'm here with my co-host, Midgettes. Midgettes, how are you this fine evening, January 1st, 2019?
Happy New Year, Sparty. I'm doing great. We're ready for a new year with new bosses to kill and new
Mm-hmm.
community events and all kinds of things. So it's been a great year. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been an eventful vacation with family here, but we'll chat about that in a second. But yeah, this is episode 52. Welcome, guys. Happy New Year, and welcome to our first podcast of 2019. 2018 was a fantastic year with lots of ups and downs. We're going to title this podcast "New Year, New Goals, New Challenges." It was a pretty eventful year. I mean, we had BFA come out, and we had lots of really good feedback on BFA. Well, what about you? So the last couple of weeks have been pretty busy. We were missing on our podcast segment. I had family in town for the last little bit, and it was really difficult to pull myself away because they've all flown in, the four of them, and you can't really say, hey, I'm gonna go do some podcasting or some video game stuff or whatever. I mean, technically work stuff, but at the same time, it's hard to justify that compared to when I was 14 years old. I could get away for a bit to play a little bit of Warcraft. But how was your holiday?
Well, my holidays are always busy. The holiday itself is nice, but every year we do inventory. And this year we decided to break my
Inventory during the
computers.
holidays.
Inventory. And this year decided to break my computer server. So I've had probably a good 80 or 100 hours of overtime in the last 3 weeks. So there you have it.
Wow.
I'm tired.
Yeah. Well,
So that's one of the reasons, some of these things with you being busy and whatnot, it has, real life sometimes takes over.
for sure. And well, we're here. We have to find a way to make it work, and here we are on the 1st of January. We were hoping to do this the last podcast of 2018, but we'll start this year nice and fresh. And of course, what a way to start a year with Sparty's dad joke of the week. Are you ready for this one?
Yes, but I've been informed that you don't have the calendar, and so that you need another calendar for 2019 so you can enthrall us all with your jokes every
Well,
week.
yeah. I mean, if people want to send me good material, I'm happy to appropriate that material and use it and keep it and say it's mine. But I mean, 2018 was a good year, and it feels like it was just yesterday
Oh my
that it was
goodness.
2018. Because today's
It was
January 1st.
just
This is the only day I can use it.
yes. Oh my goodness.
She's not very
Then
enthused with my
and
joke.
it's now time for the new year, new me, right?
Yes, new year. What's new?
Well, what's new? Not a whole lot. Tomorrow was yesterday, but today is the last day to get your presents, which you just saw because you had forgotten.
Yes. So for those of you listening to our podcast, we were just chatting about stuff beforehand, and suddenly I realized, oh crap, I forgot to get my presents. Like I was just in Iron Forge, and I don't know, it's been there for like 2 weeks, but I've been so busy, or I guess too busy to make the time to go to Iron Forge to pick up the presents. I've kept procrastinating, and today is the last day. So if you haven't picked up your presents for whatever reason, get it done. It was silly. We did a bunch of Zeros to Heroes events. We did a bunch of stuff in Iron Forge, and I haven't gotten the presents until today. But I have them now, and they're pretty cool. We had Greyfather Winter's Hearthstone, which is a really cool, like frosty looking thing, and the toy armor set, which I haven't put on yet. But what does it look like?
It's actually really cute. It dresses you in a Santa suit, and it has snow going around you while you're hearthing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So and they have a lot of them. They have some new ones coming up. You were looking at them and you
Hmm.
said, "Well, I don't have these." Well, we haven't had those events yet. It looks like they're
Ah,
new toys that are going to come with all the events. So the next
gotcha.
one looks to be the Lunar Festival, and then after that, Love is in the Air, and then the fireworks festival, the mid what is it?
Midsummer, yeah, yeah. So I've always
Yeah,
been a fan of these
Fire
little,
Festival.
yeah, I've always been a fan of these little Hearthstone things. Like I've got the Dark Moon, the Dark Portal one, which is really cool. But I like these little things. Like the little Farmer's Daughter one was another one that we had for a little while, right? Um,
Yeah, I still have all of them too. I like that they're toys now though, because they don't take up my bank space, and I can switch them around. So I think they're a great addition, and they make it fun. Just remember, home is where the Hearthstone is.
that's great.
Hey, I
Hearthstone.
get to do my own dad jokes once in a while.
That's awesome. So we try to do a lot of really cool things during the winter season. One thing that we did in Zeros to Heroes and DJs this year was we did postcards and like little Christmas cards rather. So we took a picture back in November, hoping that I would get the cards in time and have mail them out. Many of the cards made it post Christmas, but so thought that counts. Now they have a really cool picture with some nice messages on the back. We sent about 100 cards out to various guild members, and that's really what part of being a community and part of a guild and family is all about, though. Because like I get Christmas cards from other friends and other guildies that I've known for years, and it's awesome to see their kids grow up. I've got Rootleaf, who I've known for 14 years now, and like I remember when his daughter's born, and now she's got to be like 12 or 13, and it's crazy how time flies. And like I've got other guildies sending me pictures of their families like that's crazy. Like it's awesome. Like I love doing these kinds of things, and it's a little bit of something extra special. And there's more things that are in my mind for doing these kinds of community or appreciation things. Or we've thought of like, well, when kids are born in the community, which is hundreds of people here, why don't we send them like Zeros to Heroes onesies, right? Like there's lots of little things that just we need to pull the trigger on. And anyway, so we've had that. So we did Christmas cards, and we had a pretty cool event,
Well,
right?
hold.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. No, I'm getting excited.
Well, there's a part of the Christmas cards that you forgot because apparently one of the Christmas cards was modified somehow,
Ah,
and
yes.
it had a special greeting. You want care to share about that picture? Well, that was the best.
Yeah, well, we do have a dear HR officer, um, which is, our dear Miranda, and she loves Jaina, right? But she will not admit that Jaina is a dreadlord, and so I wrote, instead of like Merry Christmas on the card, it says Jaina's a dreadlord, and so there's a nice picture of her husband and and Miranda. It is awesome. It is fantastic. It
It
is.
is a fantastic picture, and if looks could kill, you wouldn't be here right now.
It is such an evil glare that she's giving the camera, but totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Well, and the other thing that we were able to do, unfortunately, it worked out so that you were able to be there. We were able to have our CTH Winter Veil event, and I thought it
Yes.
turned out really great.
Yeah, we were initially planning a Zeros to Heroes event and DJ event just before the Christmas season, but with how schedules lined up and real life being really busy, we pushed everything back, which really made it work because then I was able to join, and we ran some really cool events that were mostly organized by the ZTH guys themselves, which is really awesome as well. We did a sled race, so we went into Iron Forge, and basically you had one partner that was on the sled, another person that was pulling the sled, and you had to race to the checkpoint, which was towards Loch Modan from the Iron Forge gate, which was really cool. Then we did another sled race afterwards in where was it? Where's that zone? Tiragard?
Tiergard
Tiragard,
sound.
yeah, Tiragard. You know where the penguins are? So the penguin little sled challenge, we did a sled race down there. We also did a sled or a penguin race itself. So everybody had a timer. We clicked on the penguin themselves, and it was awesome because it was like 34, or it was probably about 30 penguins racing down at the exact same time. And it was really cool to see. So that was really fun. We did a transmog contest. So the ugliest, best Christmas transmogs, the one. Um,
Ugly sweater
ugly
contest.
sweater contest. I mean, some of them were really well done, and like transmogs always impress me. Like some of our guildies, Sev, Castrophone, who else was short film. They had some really solid ones, and just it's so impressive how clever and how I don't know well thought out these transmogs are, because there is no way that I would be able to think of these awesome transmogs. And what else was that? It was there another event we did? Oh yes, of course we did dazzling rods in Storm Peaks. So the Storm Peaks mine maze, we had a blast, literally, doing the dazzling rod challenge, which was really fun. A lot of these guys played it for the first time, and yeah, it was great. I mean, I loved it. It was great to see everybody out there, and I was making this joke where internally, like if there's not more than or if there's less than 5 people in Ironforge, I'm going to quit this game because, like, guys, listen, if there is not enough people in Ironforge, that is the canary in the coal mine. Like, that is the game.
That I mean, if there's no one, well, we noticed that there was nobody in Ironforge. We even have pictures in Ironforge of nobody in Ironforge.
Yeah,
Just
I
saying.
mean, in the little inn, there was nobody there at the time. I mean, Exodar had like 3 people. That was crazy. I did a Who Exodar, and there were actually people in Exodar. So, I mean, if
Well,
there
the fact that there's anybody in
that
Exodar is a
that is
shock.
definitely the health of the game right there. The amount of people in X-Star, right? Like 3 is fantastic. If you get 0, well, that's just probably normal, right? But yeah,
Well, I've heard there's quite a few people in the Argent tournament these days.
yes.
So because they're all working on their mounts, and apparently there's been this little pay it forward thing going on, and basically part of one of the world quests you have to kill all the people. So one guy for one night continued to do that all night and kill all of the little critters for the daily quest. And so Aelid passed it on, and then the next day somebody else was doing it. And so we have the spirit of goodwill going through the Argent tournament.
So explain how does that work? This horde thing. So there was a Tauren in the Argent tournament just AFKing, or like how does it work exactly?
Well, Alan could actually explain it better because he was the one that was there. But um, he would have to be the one you would ask that question because I really don't know. All I know is that he was helping others by doing it for them. And he stayed there for 20 or 30 minutes to help make the quest faster and easier for them.
Ah,
And it's on
interesting.
the jousting, and you have to stay on the horse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I haven't done that in since the Argent tournament.
I love those dailies. I like those were some of my favorite dailies. People might hate on the Argent tournament, but I love them. Like they were just so much fun. I love the little vehicular combat kind of thing, and I don't know. I mean, just hearing that makes me want to do it again because I mean, I still need to get all those stupid mounts and the stupid things, and I hated doing all of it just over and over and over. But I mean, if it
Well,
was if it was easier to get to, I would do it absolutely. But it's such a pain in the ass to go fly up there. Like that's all it is.
oh, we're so lazy.
We
You
are so
port your
lazy.
old Dal, and you fly to the Argent tournament. There is one flight point from Dal
I
to the Argent
guess.
tournament. It's
Now you make me sound
horrid.
really
Oh my
lazy.
God, you poor thing.
Well, with age comes laziness, and we had a really cool, with the Zeros to Heroes event. Midges and a lot of the guildies came together, as it was my birthday a few days ago, a couple days ago. They did a really cool thing during the Zeros to Heroes Winterville event, where they rainbowed me and they gave me some really cool presents. And there's under this stupid underwater zone where, I have flashbacks of drowning, or them drowning my character with life grips while I was AFK, and it was good. It was really special to have that in a nice little YouTube chipmunks happy birthday thing. So that was really
Well, the
nice.
presents were all to help you with drowning because you had your diving suit,
You just thought
and
you're
you
so
had your
clever.
anchor. It was all about underwater breathing and the underwater bar, which is also apparently an achievement, but there are several underwater bars within Borealis and the new X Pack where you can go,
Yeah.
and there's actually vendors down there, and you can breathe underwater. You can't be drowned there.
Which is of course great, but I mean I've never been in these places before. Like that's really cool to, I've been playing BFA for this long, and I've been playing for Warcraft for forever, but to find new things in the game constantly like that was a really cool zone, like an underwater bar. Like that was awesome. I loved it with Tortola and
It was
barkeeps.
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. And you even got people, so a lot of people that weren't necessarily on the current team, you had a pretty full group for your birthday to wish you your happy 32nd birthday.
33rd.
33rd?
Yes.
I thought Evelyn said 32.
No, that's how old mom is. But mom's
Oh,
29. Let's just leave it at that.
mom's 29. You need to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, it's been relatively quiet during the holidays. This is typically a very quiet time for most guilds or most raid teams. I know DJs took a bit of a hiatus from raiding for a week or so, give people a bit of a break, away from the AP grind and whatever else. A lot of them were in town anyway, and I was around during Christmas logging in occasionally and just to see what people were doing. People were around doing stuff, and it was great. And a bunch of them did some mythic raiding, or it helped with some Zeros to Heroes groups. And I mean, with raiding, it's sort of to be expected with family and holidays. And it's a good like 2.5 week stretch, depending on how the raid weeks end, where some teams just you have like real life comes first. We all get that, right? We all have family life that comes first, and vacations and everything else. And a lot of teams are just going to have really low numbers, unfortunately. You have to deal with it, and it is what it is, and you make do. And sometimes you have to underman things. Other times you have to pull in some extra people. Other times you find something else to do, whether it's dungeon groups or achievement runs or whatever, right? Just play some alts together, right? So yeah,
Well, and I know even the weekend team, both of our groups were running about half. We're missing at least good 10 people or better. And
yeah,
so we
that's quite a
just
bit.
combined the groups and we still did a little bit of mythic progression and
Hmm.
we did heroics and we spent time together. And a lot of people in Warcraft, and And we had some people who were like, well, why aren't we doing Mythic Progression? Because people are celebrating the holidays.
That's the thing. I mean, if you play on any like sports team, like my hockey team, like sometimes we have a full roster of like 13 guys, and that's 13. And sometimes we get some spares when somebody's away, and sometimes we can't. And sometimes like we only have 8 players, which is crazy to like on a hockey team because you're so gassed the entire time. And I mean that's part of life, right? Like life comes first, and sometimes work obligations, sometimes the game is too late, and we all have to be aware of those kinds of things. And the world doesn't revolve around us, but sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And when I was young, of course, I had plenty more time to spend playing games. And as you get older, you don't have the same luxuries. Right? You have the different responsibilities, and like I was sick for most of the holidays too. Like I think from the 20th to the 23rd, 24th, like I was pretty damn sick. So I missed out on a couple days of that. But yeah, I mean, it was relatively
Well,
quiet. People may do.
it was quiet, but we still had like 50 or better. I just laughed because somebody in chat said, I thought Zeros to Heroes shut down. No, we're a growing, thriving community of over 500 unique accounts and 9 raid teams. We haven't
Jesus,
shut down.
that's a lot. It's a lot. Like it's great to see the community thriving, and with the ups and downs of BFA, and there's definitely a ton of ups and downs of BFA, and a lot of challenges, and a lot of issues that are hopefully slowly being rectified. It's tough to maintain a team and a guild and keep people's interest, and guilds left and right. Players, whether it's guilds being banned out there for being stupid, or players just burning out, and the burnout can be attributed to them playing too long, or goals realign, or just they don't like BFA, and that's fair too, right? There's going to be natural attrition to a lot of these things, and part of it is dealing with, and part of our recap of 2018 has been, it's been a rough battlefield out there, right? I mean, a lot of new
It is.
players. Yeah, it's been a lot of new
It,
players and a lot of old players, and quite a few players leaving the game, and quite a few people upset. But that's it's
well,
cyclical.
that's just it. And when we sort of talked about talking about recruiting and the cyclic nature of recruiting,
Hmm.
because some of this is normal. You always have a group of people that come back and see the new X Pack, see the content, and leave. And I expect we'll have another surge of people coming back on January 22nd with the new raid. But there have been other challenges. And so last year we did a parody for, things in 2018 we would love to, or 2017 that we'd like to see to get again. And I sat down and I tried to work on it, and I thought it's just not the right climate for it because people are seriously,
Yeah.
they're not amused. They're going to be cranky about it. But on the other hand, there are people in there that just love the game and they love playing. And I saw the cutest post today and I responded to him. I hope they come and join us. He said, lonely person looking for a guild. The friend that I've played with for years has quit playing and I just want to play with people. Here,
Yeah.
come join us. We want to play.
Yeah, I feel for
We
those
like to play
guys.
the game.
Exactly, right? And, one of our viewers here says, I'm just tired of feeling all the negative stuff all the time. It's like, if you don't like it, then don't play it. Absolutely, right? Like, it's totally fine. If you don't like things, then don't do them, right? Like, I'm trying to find a PG example. Yeah, if you don't like it, just why are you subjecting yourself to it? And, you know, sometimes things change, and that's okay, and the direction of the game changes, and yes, it's all a cyclical nature of subs, and content droughts, and new content and old content. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just it's
Well, and
when I
keep
find a
in
community.
mind,
Yeah.
well, and keep in mind that because a lot of people are comparing it to Legion, and Legion was so jam packed full of things to do.
But people hated Legion at
I
the
sort of
start.
like I sort of like the break. But last year at this time, we were in a different part of the X Pack. We were doing the last raids. Everybody was still sort of working on progression, I think, and we were working on mage towers, and there were all of these things. So there were things to keep people busy.
Hmm.
And I think the people who aren't liking the game as well are those that really just log on to raid and they like raiding. And I think that's where a lot of the challenges are. Because if you look at the people who are saying they love the game, they do other things. They're doing the pet battles, they're doing the new pet dungeon, No Moragan. Um, the archaeology, I really like it. I'm trying to get the one of the older toys because it's needed for an achievement. We've got people working on mounts.
Hmm.
If all they do is log into raid, I think those are the people that are having the most challenges. And if I was going to suggest anything, try to find something else you like. But if you just like raiding, right now you're not happy. Most of you are not happy.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a few, and I mean, a lot of the players, and there was a good message from I think one of the limit players where raiding is some of the best it's ever been right now. Like the raids are pretty damn solid. Lore wise they're fine, but mechanically and balanced and tuning and there's no Tomb of Solgara stuff. Like it's in a pretty good
You mean
setting.
we're not just soaking?
Yeah, we're not just soaking with rogues. Like it's pretty cool. It's hit or miss. The next raid should be a lot of fun as the PTR testing has gone on. A lot of the other systems, Azurite grinds. Um, I think MMOs need them, right? I mean, from EverQuest, the Ultimate Advancement to what you have now, Azurite. Azurite is, I think a fumbled system with what they're changing in the future because one of the biggest points is it sucks to relearn your abilities, right? And so they should amplify your abilities later on. But there should be some kind of grind. Like I'm absolutely for the neck grind of some sort. With AK every week, that would be really awesome. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to dislike, and everyone dislikes something, right? And so, actually, it reminds me of a really good story. So I can't remember exactly how the story goes, but I thought about the other day when I was reading some negativity tweets and stuff. And basically, there is a man and a woman and a horse. And so the have you heard this one? Maybe
No,
where
I don't think so.
so they go into town, and the man is riding the horse, and everybody says, "Look at that, right? Like what a scumbag guy. He won't even let his woman ride the horse. What an asshole." And then the next day, the woman comes in. The man is walking next to the horse, the woman's riding the horse, and the town says, "Look at that, right? She thinks she's so good, better than everybody else riding on top of that horse." And the third day, they both walk in with the horse, and the horse has nobody on it. And the town says, "Look at them. They can't even ride a damn good horse." And it's one of those things where people always complain about something, right? There will always be something to complain and bitch about, right? Whatever perspective you're looking at. Um, so yeah, I mean, people are going to complain about everything and something or find something to complain about. And a lot of that was 2018, right? These like I tweeted a little while ago where people are poised at the keyboards waiting to complain about something, right? The next, there's nobody in Ironforge kind of thing. The next pandering to the lowest common denominator because it's the negativity is what sells, right? Really,
Oh, sure.
the 2019 goal, right, should be let's focus on the positive. Listen, if you don't like the game, cool. Your feedback important. Don't like it, don't play it. Like, don't subject yourself to things you don't like. Or like, if you don't like raiding, well, why do you raid? Right? Like don't like doing pet battles, right? Well, I mean, I actually do. But if you don't like doing pet battles, then don't do them. If you hate PvPing, why would you subject yourself to RPGs or to arenas or whatever else? Because you get so frustrated. Like it boggles my mind why people would do that. So if you don't like it, don't play it. Cool, right? And go on. But I think 2019, the big focus should be let's focus on what we do enjoy. Like, what do we love about World of Warcraft or our communities or our guilds or whatever? Like I love doing pet battles now, right? I mean, years ago it was all those dirty casuals or their stupid pet battles taken away from our raid and developer times. I mean, there's a whole like ton of people doing pet battles out there. Like it's a huge community, right? There's a secret finding thing, like of the thousands of people that were in the secret finding Discord looking for the hive mind thing, and then they were looking for the hunter pet thing, which was a little broken. It's awesome, like how great this community is. Like it's fantastic, and you know what? There's always issues. There's issues with every single expansion. Every single expansion that has come out, and I've played every single one from day one, has had major issues, right? People loved Wrath. Wrath was a shit show for rating. Wrath had a ton of issues. BC had a ton of issues. Vanilla had, like, everything had issues. Every single expansion at the start. And those things were fixed as time went on, and some good feedback and a lot of I told you so's, but by the end of the expansion people were really loving it, right?
Well, and that's just it. One of the things in some of my conversations because there's a lot of things I really like. And I won't know how well I like the expansion until I get to the end of the expansion.
Hmm.
Because when we started Legion, if you remember, I mean, if you go back and look at the things we were making fun of in 2018, we were making fun of
Legendaries.
the RE legendaries, the
Yep.
Arcana crystal. There were so many things we were making fun of it. And I think some of it is idle hands and it's finding other things to enjoy in the game.
Hmm.
It's for me, what gets me logging on most of the time is to play with my friends. And or sometimes to play with nobody but myself and go get lost in Azeroth. There's the allied races to level. Uh, I'm looking forward to, and I'm going to pick which ones because I don't. I've leveled so many tunes, and I've leveled them from scratch, boosted characters. So going back through and doing that leveling experience is not necessarily something I want to do a lot of, but there's a lot of changes from like Cataclysm that I've not necessarily seen, and I want to go do those quests. And there's such a wide world of diversity of things to do. And I think that in 2019, we're going to continue to see improvements. I expect this next raid to be excellent.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to the Jaina encounter. I can't wait to see her mount. That
I can't
mount
wait
is
to find out.
so
Like, I can't wait for the
awesome.
mythic phase where she's a dreadlord. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
I know. Well, and we're all going to make Miranda watch that one, right?
But you're right
So
though. Like, yeah, no, so go ahead. You can finish it.
there's a lot of things to do, and within that though, how do you motivate your people and your team to keep logging on? It was funny because one of the somebody who was a little annoyed because we were doing heroics said, and Midgets even said she was excited to do Gahoon. Well, not really. But it was important for the other 20 people to have a little bit of fun and try to be excited. I'm as tired of seeing him as you are. I don't like the
Yeah.
boss. He's a pain.
Yeah, and a lot
But
of guilds are skipping Mythic Kahuna at this point because he's not worth it, right? Unless you're selling it or you're giving away the achievement or whatever, it's not worth it. But I do want to touch on a couple things that you mentioned where part of it is enjoying who you play with, and I had this tweet on my list from December 29th. So Method Trey, so one of the Method players, he's the battle royale manager for Method, whatever for Warcraft. And he said he started hanging out with his with a new on Discord with a new group of friends almost daily, and it's been the best decision he's made in his life. And he's actually enjoying his time gaming with them and chatting about just about anything. And he's had more fun these last couple of weeks than he's had in years. And that was echoed by Caden, which is Yitsian's on our forums on Blizzard forums. He says he's done the same thing. He's joined a new guild in Warcraft, has been hanging out with them a lot more, and it's totally changed his attitude about games. Right? He was so burned out now, or he was so burned out before, but now he wants to play every day and hang out with these wonderful people, right? And part of that is it's who you hang out with. It's the environments and the cultures that you cultivate. And I was talking to my officers the other day, and people aren't liking BFA, and that's fine. And there's all okay, another quick tangent. We did Secret Santa as well in DJs and Zeros to Heroes. My DJ Secret Santa gave me three pets. Gave me an Azurite pet, gave me an Angry pet, and gave me a Blood Boil pet. And so I could read between the lines where Azurite makes them angry and make their blood boil, which was friggin' hilarious.
well, don't
Um,
forget this the tears. I liked the tears.
yeah,
That was the
of
best
course
part of the
there were
gift.
tears. So it was awesome. Where was I going with this? With who you play with. So for me, someone that's like I've listen, I've done all the content. Like, do I want to do classic again? No, because I did everything. Like, short of just getting before Grand Marshal because I couldn't dedicate 20 hours a day and I didn't want to account share for what everyone was doing back then. I've done all the content and like I have no desire to do it again because I know how much it took to get things running. But at the same time, like I don't play the game because rating is just awesome. Like it's not as if it's super rewarding. That's such a minuscule reason for why I still play Warcraft. Like, yeah, rating's cool, and this raid was fine, and next raid should be better. But it's who you play with. Like, I enjoy doing stuff with friends, and I did a Warfront with a couple of guildies earlier today. We did Islands a couple days ago. Like, I like doing dungeons. We had a 14. We were doing, I don't know, last week we did a 14 shrine or something with Skendria's alt, and I mean, I told my wife like, listen, I'll just I'll be half an hour, then I'll go watch a movie with you. And it was about an hour later, and it was totally fine. Like it was fun, I felt really rusty in that dungeon, but it was fun to do it with these guys, right? And that's part of the reason why guilds and teams and things stay together, and what players find enjoyable. Where if there's really low points in the game, as there are in BFA right now, right, and legitimately so, it's these kinds of communities and these bonds and friendships that transcend just the game, and there's people behind that screen. That's what's going to really make it. That's what's going to keep your teams and your guilds together, right? It's take a
Well,
break if you
it's
need to.
making memories.
Yeah, absolutely. it's
You
it's
know,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, I will go. Um, it's making those memories, and it's having the fun with the players, and it's building those bonds. That's what's important. I lost my thought because you interrupted me, but go ahead.
Well, that's okay. You haven't stopped long
I
enough for me
know,
to
I
have
know. I
too
need to
many
breathe.
thoughts.
Go ahead.
Well, but it's about making memories. So one of our viewers says we're struggling getting interest to do a second gun kill for
Hmm.
those who weren't in for the kill. It's good that they didn't put the best loot on the last
I know.
boss, but something to motivate the people who have the kill, other than loyalty to their guildies who put in hundreds of attempts in it but don't get the kill. And that was one of the things that I was trying to express to the weekend team was the fact that we've done this boss. There's really nothing we need out of heroic, but we're doing it together and we're helping other people and we're
Yeah,
building the team.
yeah.
And
You gotta have that
sometimes you have to
mentality.
go in and do that run, just not because you have any needs. I don't want to do this. I don't need anything. Well, what about the other person that hasn't gotten the
Yeah,
kill?
like what about the other guy? Like I don't understand that. Like, well, I don't need anything, so I'm not gonna log on. What do you mean you're not gonna log on? Like, part of it is training and learning and practice. Like, teams don't go out there and just play games. Sometimes they practice, right? And sometimes, when you're winning or losing or whatever, you need to play your third and fourth string players to give them some experience, right? And that's what part of building a team is like. It's not just, well, I don't need anything off this boss. I don't know. I'm
Well,
thinking
and
about
how do you encourage that within your teams?
you just
I mean, it's something that it's really going forward because you have people that you know my some of my favorite. There's a funny thread in the recruitment forums on the recruitment Discord called Raider Excuses, and one of them I laughed at because it says. So 2 hours before raid, they all of a sudden were going to be out of town. They didn't know this months in
no, not at
advance,
all.
you know. And so, how do you encourage your players and your team and your on any team to remember the other 19 people, whether it's people who have go AFK on trash or whatever? How do you continue to build that team mentality?
So, I mean, I've had plenty of situations in the guild over the years where it's just like that. People are just, there's an excuse here, or suddenly, they're too sick to play, or whatever, where they don't need anything from the boss, right? Like they're so done with their raid, it's too hard to log on for 3 hours a week, right? To actually raid. And my first go-to that's been fairly successful is a really good, strong, passionate team speech. It's what we just talked about. It's all about the team. It's helping your friends out. It's a long-term thing. It's doing all of that. Like the speech is always a really good one, especially if you're a good orator. To really get the feels across of like we're a part of a team. We're doing this together. Let's get it done. So that's always been a good go-to, and part of it is just it's constant maintenance of that team environment, right? It's constant work of like, hey, we're doing stuff together. Of hey, we've got a 30 days of Warcraft thread on our forums now. Of like every day, add something new, right? And part of that is it gets people on the forums, it gets them checking things. On the flip side, it gets to know more about your guildies, and again, the more you know about your guildies, the better it is. Uh, One of my friends also had a really good suggestion of, and I mentioned this in the podcast before, where he or they use their first names, their real life first names, rather than like, "Hey, midgets, stop standing in fire, you dumb little gnome." We would say, "Hey, Fred, can you do your job properly?" Whatever it is, right? Like it's harder to call
I'm not
your
sure it would work anymore because when people call me by my real name, I'm like, because I've even gotten so I say Midge at work, So
yeah. Yeah, and it's I think that's a really good thing. I was thinking about employing in DJs as well, and we bounced that idea back and forth a couple times, but didn't pull a trigger eventually. But it's that kind of stuff to really build the bonds and build the teams, and you know, I- it's not just a game again, or like No, this is your leisure time. Take it seriously, right? Like that was a good little card tip the other day of,
It's
you
not
know,
just a game.
yeah, it's a serious game where you need to, just have fun, but seriously, like you need to like seriously relax. I know it's a bit of an oxymoron, but don't just like half-ass things and don't give a shit. But even like when you have fun, like have lots of fun. No, don't just whatever. Um, but yeah, like that's my thing, right? Like it's like that's got to rally the post, rally the troops post, right? And posts are fine, but like it's there when you're in person and you're speaking to them and you've got the emotion, and that's when they really feel it. That's what I've always felt worked. There's other ways of getting it across. Of like, listen, if you can't motivate the
Well,
unmotivated,
if our new thought process
yep.
is to focus on the positive
Hmm.
and goals,
Goals, yes.
how do we incorporate that? I mean, so for New Year's, you have the new you, new me. The best joke out there is I'm going to create for January. It's going to be a exercise building, and then from February until December, it'll be a bar. Um,
What?
so they talk about, every new year you make your New Year's resolution. You're going to get in better shape. You're going to lose weight. Blah blah blah. It
Yeah, yeah,
usually
yeah.
lasts about the first 30 days. So for those first 30 days, it can be a workout place
Yep.
like Planet Fitness or something like that. And then for the last 11 months, it can just be a bar.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta
So
exercise from getting the wings from your plate to your mouth.
because usually those new you, new me, new year goals sort of fizzle out.
Hmm.
So how do you make those goals going forward? And there was something that, and you've talked about it over the years, something that you always do. You get into guild chat and you say hi, and you stop and you ask people how they're doing. Versus just saying, "Hey Joe, I need you to, main tank tonight," and blah blah blah. You actually have a conversation with them. How's
Yeah.
it going?
So a lot of it is it's people management is what I tell my officers. You're managing people the entire time. One of the things I'd like to do is random guildie logs on, whether it's a raid member or an old player, and I say, hey, so and so, and that's it. The whole sole purpose is to say hello, to get a conversation going, and to make them feel loved and important, right? Like that's all it comes down to, right? And that goes a long way in terms of relationship building and longevity and retention for your players. Is just saying hello, just sparking conversations. And this goes back to one of my New Year's goals of last year was to chat with somebody every single day, and unfortunately that didn't happen. But it was to get to know my players a little bit better, and that should be more of an ongoing goal and ongoing habit is to just chat with people. And it's super time consuming. Let me get like it's absolutely super time consuming to make those connections and talk to people, but it's 1,000% worth it. Like whether you're an app or whatever, just go say hello and just chat with somebody. Like that's all it is, right? Like it's a huge deal. Um, but in terms of goals, like Warcraft, so two things. So my first suggestion in terms of goals for 2019 is just keep making new goals and just keep making little goals, right? Whether it's hey, I'm going to do this achievement, or I'm going to finish all these achievements, or I want to grow my guild by this many people, whatever it is, like little goals every month, not a full year whatever goal, because most of those just fall apart. I do like Spencer has got a really good idea, and he says, I find goals are what help keep me feel there's always something to do in Warcraft, whether it's a perpetual goal like having the highest Azurite neck on the server, or it's individual goals like completing an achievement or hitting a PvP honor level to unlock something I want. Once I reach one, I take the time to find another one I'm passionate about. That's a really great suggestion. Like that's fantastic, right? You find a goal, something reasonable and within reach, hit it, then find something new that would, that you're pretty passionate about. That's a great one.
Well, and that's what. So the new pet battles they came out with the new, basically family familiar for BFA,
Hmm.
and so I do three of them every day. Um, I do three pets because I can work on the achievements since they nerfed my
Hmm.
battle pet experience, and so that's what I'm working on right now. And sometimes it's archaeology, and sometimes it's I might actually get on and do a mythic plus. Um, One of my team goals is to get everybody to use a mic.
Hmm.
That may be a bigger goal though than I think it is.
Yeah, I think having those goals is super important, but I think setting the parameters is even better. So, for instance, my goal last year was just get to know somebody else every single day. I think a better goal, a more realistic one, is now spend just 10 minutes a day talking to somebody in guild, right? Like somebody new, whatever it is, right? It's only a small, minimum 10 minutes, but you can get to really know somebody in that 10 minutes. And it's going to go a long way in terms of building those bonds because it can be the same person, different people, whatever, in 10 minutes. Whether you're doing world quests, you're both doing world quests together, you're both on Discord chatting, it can be a conversation in whispers or it can be a conversation in Discord. I think that's going to be my big goal for 2019 is continue strengthening bonds and have more chats with people. What about you? Anything?
Um,
So besides the microphone
I
thing?
think. Well, no, I think that I wasn't sure you were gonna let me talk.
No, sorry. I know.
I think that for me, one of the things that I want to continue because there's some new leadership teams. So one of the things that one of my goals is to continue to strengthen the newer leadership in Death Jesters, as well as my leadership in the weekend team. And the weekend team is going to have a lot of the focus of my goals because I
Mm-hmm.
want to continue growing the team into a mythic progression team. And
Mm-hmm.
rating only a couple of days a week, we've got to get there. But people, one of the things that I've encountered is you have levels of players and you have levels of patience levels. We have some people that think, well, we all of them should be doing 8 of 8 mythic already. No, we're still learning. We're still learning and
Mm-hmm.
we're still growing. And a lot of our teams are building those foundations. So I think for me, as I want to help build some foundations, and then some of the things that I've always wanted to see in Zeros to Heroes, I want to use the weekend team because it's my team that I oversee
Mm-hmm.
as the one to set some of those examples. So I really encourage my team to be really involved with the community. We open it up to the community frequently. We go and do things, and I'm very pleased to see them. A lot of my team is sitting on some of these, the newer alt runs and things of that nature, and I want to continue building and developing that.
Oh, for sure. And like again, I've spoken about these little alt runs and these learning raids in the past. And years ago, when I had a lot more time to stream, we'd be doing these constant learning and teaching raids nonstop, and it was awesome. But eventually, real life happens, and different jobs and careers um, happen, and we have less time. And now other people have taken the torch, and it is awesome to see every Sunday our coffee runs of our teaching raids, learning raids, all that stuff. We have alt raids going on, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see constantly, and I love it. I mean, that should be one of our continued goals for Zeros to Heroes is continue bolstering these teams and ensure that our our Zeros to Heroes raid teams are hitting their goals, right? Whether it be cutting edge or 5, 6 out of 8 mythic. We want to continue to ensure we give them the tools, whether it be recruitment or raid leading or weak auras or spreadsheets, all the stuff we've done to make their lives easier, right? It's up to them to use it, but we want to continue supporting these teams. So that's another good little goal for us for 2019. And of course, more podcasting, more chatting about stuff, and more streaming in general.
Well, and another thing I want to do is I want to set the example within our podcasts of continuing to build on making a better team, making better guilds,
Mm-hmm.
leadership, community, because those are the things that I believe in and you believe in. It's what created Zeros to Heroes.
For
We
sure.
joke about it, but that came because we wanted to spread that out. And I think that going into 2019, we need to figure out new ways of having community events, involving more people, getting more people
Yep.
involved. And maybe even who knows, having other subsections that like do PvP or things like that. We might even have somebody online that does PvP or somebody who does Mythic Plus. By the way, I did try to get Sloot to come to your birthday, and he whispered me and told me that he was sorry he didn't see it. He had taken a couple of days off, and to make sure you knew, he wished you a happy birthday, and
That's
he would try
fantastic.
to be there next time.
Yeah, and Salut's an awesome. Like you can only say great things about Salut, and he's a fine gentleman, and he tweeted me happy birthday, and then he made fun of he misses my old purple hair and called it pink Zarya hair. This is an internal joke. He called me Zarya all the time, and he knew it would get on my nerves so much.
Did
Uh,
you see Celestialon's VR
No, I was
Beats
away. Of
thing.
course, I
You
retweeted
have to
it.
go. I'm sure it's a VOD somewhere. It's an experience. You should go see
I'm
it.
gonna go see it. I know because my wife loves the Beat Saber stuff on the Oculus VR here, and it's been a fun time. It's been a good vacation as well. But now work starts again tomorrow. It's good to get back in the swing of things. Raid dungeons, all that fun stuff, and back to more. So, anything else to wrap up? Any other goals, recaps for 2019?
I think for 2019 we have a lot to looking forward to.
We do.
I still believe that the best is yet to come, just like in any expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the best thing we can do is remind ourselves that shh, let other people enjoy things. If we do that more, I think we help build the community, because all we're doing when we're not happy about the game and playing is we're discouraging the people who are. And within that, we cause more ripples in the community, so to speak. So I think if I was going to make a 2019 goal, was to recognize that there's a lot of things I'm not going to like, no matter what it is, in real life, um, in relationships, at work, in Zeros to Heroes, in Death Gestures, with you, with me, and recognize that. So, okay, that's the way I feel. What can we do better?
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of saying I don't like it, say what can we do better or do instead?
Yes, absolutely. It's great advice for 2019, and it's a good perspective and mentality of going forward. We want that positivity. That's what's infectious. The negativity just brings everybody around you down. The positivity will bring you up, and whether it's a positive face or you're truly passionate about those kinds of things, that's what you want to encourage.
Well, and the other thing I think our goal should be for 2019 is we should quit hanging out in Borealis and we should go to Iron Forge to hang out, so that there's no question of the state of the game.
With that, we'll see you guys all in Ironforge to show the true state of the game. Uh, Really, to start off 2019, guys, be excellent to each other. Right, that is our motto in Death Jesters and Zeros to Heroes. Be excellent to each other. So with that, have a good night. Thank you for watching, listening. Be excellent to each other, and as always, live your life heroically. Have a great night. Fantastic.